vision of the leadership of this district. I think it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I hope all of you are enjoying being in our own building, and it's long overdue, and I call this meeting to order. So again, this is the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District for Thursday, September 12th, and our first item would be pledge to the flag. See that the flag is in its proper place, and repeat after Director Scheidegger. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the Metro Cable announcement is as follows. The open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14, replay on Saturday, September 14, 2013 at 1 p.m. and Monday, September 16th, 2013 at 6 p.m. on Channel 14, webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. Do we have any speaker cards, Madam?
No, we do not.
First item is our consent agenda. What's the pleasure of the group?
I move we adopt. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion by Director Gould, second by Director Pearson. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
and Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Directors Orzelli, Clark, and Jones absent.
All right. We have two action items this evening. One is a records retention policy. Director Wells, would you like to come forward, please? Or excuse me, Chief Wells, would you like to come forward? Been demoted.
Good evening, Directors. Mark Wells, Deputy Chief of Administration, tonight with IT Director Matt Roseberry. Tonight we're going to talk about a records retention policy that has gone before the Policy Committee on August 22nd of this year, who recommended we bring it to the full board for approval. And Matt will go over the particulars of the policy.
Good evening, Board. We have drafted the policy to kind of help us facilitate the appropriate access to documents, preserve the confidentiality of such records, reduce the cost of records maintenance, etc. We drafted the policy from the Secretary of State of California. We kind of took the majority of their policy, used their guidelines, made some of our own modifications. Like Chief Wells said, we brought it to the Policy Committee. They had some suggestions. We made those changes and updated the policy as it sits now with a couple of revisions. So I think that's about it.
Yeah, essentially, and the efficiencies that we're going to gain from this will be maximizing, or minimizing, I should say, our storage capacities. We have a building out there at McClellan where we have a lot of records that we keep because we don't have a policy in place to purge them on a timely manner. We have some real savings in dollars that we rent yearly for that. It's going to bring us into compliance, obviously, in the policy with all the federal and state laws. And in addition to that, the other thing it'll do for us is when somebody asks for records of things that we have, when you're only supposed to, it's like your own tax records at home, you shouldn't have 25 years of them if you only need them for 7. And so it takes up space and it takes time and you have to produce them potentially, which is not something that we're afraid of producing, but it becomes a staffing issue for the HR or any other division to go out into this warehouse, hand search for these documents. So we have a plan in place to a gentleman that we're going to have purging the documents, already done a lot of sorting and that type of thing to be in compliance with this policy. So for tonight, we're looking for a recommendation of approval.
Well, there's a great deal of information here. I don't know how many of you had time to look through it very carefully, but certainly more than we probably needed to make a decision here. Anybody have a desire one way or another with this?
I'll make a motion that we approve it. We did review it at the policy committee with some recommendations, and those recommendations were put in for the rewrite, so I'd make a motion that we approve it as it is now.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Director Monk and a second by Director Wood.
Can I ask a question? Matt, can you just briefly explain the security process that you put in place so that our most confidential records are secured? Just briefly share with me what you've put in place.
As far as.
Who has access, how we track it, how we back it?
Yeah, so what we're doing, as soon as we get the policy approved, we're going to be going out and getting a RMS software system that will allow us to create retention folders to be able to keep track of those retention dates, and then it goes and tells us when we can actually destroy the records. So those will be done by, obviously, security groups that those who need access to those specific records will have access.
Thank you.
And if I may, the standards, the parameters in terms of duration for the various types of records are all comporting through this compliance guideline with Public Records Act and government code requirements. Is that
Correct.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
And this is for all, this is for all of our electronic communications and documents. What do we do for documents that come to this organization, hard copy?
It's going to cover all of our retention, so electronic documents as well as hard copy documents.
Do we image those and file them away?
That's our plan, to take all the existing documents we have at this storage facility and scan them in, and then be able to sort through them according to the policy, and then dump them into our records management system once we get to that point to procure that and put it in place.
Okay.
Mr. President, if I may, I'd just like to congratulate both IT and HR. This is a huge, huge lift that's been long overdue. I attended about 4 years ago at a special districts conference, a breakout session put on by clerks in regards to records retention and RMS systems and how we do that. It was pretty clear to me then that we obviously did not have a system to do exactly what President Kelly talked about, is taking a lot of our hard documents, scanning them, getting them into electronic form, and having a system whereby we can provide what Director Gould talked about, security and consistency in how we hold those, and a policy that allows us to dispense of the ones that we don't need and make sure that we keep the ones that we do. So this combination of this policy with the RMS system is going to take Metro Fire light years ahead to where it needed to be for many, many years, and clean up a lot of the past. And one last comment is that as we've gone through these processes of sorting them out, there are historical records that are incredibly important to us as it relates to an example would be LAFCO and mergers and acquisitions and stuff. And so as we've gone through a lot of what services we provided during those previous districts. So as we've gone through all of that, we've made sure that we don't lose the content that we need moving into the future. We're being very, very cautious and careful about that so that we don't accidentally lose something that we need.
Thank you, Chief.
And the only last thing I would add is this has been a district-wide effort, truly. There's been a large working group that started this process. Initially developed through the Operations Division, I believe. It was one of those projects you don't have time to do, but you don't have time not to do it. So accolades to everybody that had a finger on this. It was a great, something to get done. We haven't had it in however many years we've been formed, and now we're doing it, so.
All right. Yeah, I would have to pat you guys on the back too. I sit on the board for a state organization that takes applications and registers contractors in this state. And every document that comes through gets scanned and then disposed of, and it just exists in an electronic form after that. All right, the motion was on the table. We had the motion by Director Monk and the second by Director Wood. No further questions. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
and Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Directors Orzali, Clark, and Jones absent.
All right, moving on to our second action item. This is you again, Mr. Wells. Looks like we have a Family Medical Leave Act policy to approve.
Correct. Again, Mark Wells, Deputy Chief of Administration, tonight with the HR Manager, Melissa Maddox, who functionally does all the policies and things regarding to this. Basically, we came before the Policy Committee also on August 22nd and had the referral to the full board for approval. This policy originally came before this board last March and was significantly improved and enhanced from its previous version. And then upon further reflection, there were some other areas that we needed to still true up. And so in a short order, shorter than the 2 years that we would normally go back, a group got together and revised the policy. So tonight we would ask for full approval from the board, but Melissa's going to discuss with you what the changes were.
The main and only change to this policy tonight is that from here on out, we will require that when employees go out on an approved leave of absence, that they will be required to use their sick leave accruals or their vacation accruals or a combination of both before they can go out on unpaid leave. Our current policy, or I should say practice, is that they can choose to go out unpaid, they can use a few hours here, a few hours there. As you can imagine, that causes a lot of tracking issues within HR and the finance division for payroll purposes. And also, we feel that this change brings the policy up to industry standards, so.
I'll move the proposal.
All right,
Well, get a second, then we'll change.
motion from Director Scheidegger,
Director Woods.
Director Woods with the second, and on the question, Director Gould.
So what you've just explained to us tonight reflects in the policy that we have before us tonight for vote? Because you've just said these are the changes, they're reflected in tonight's. And
Yes.
I'm assuming that it went through my colleagues on the 22nd with that full explanation, and it's been vetted by our labor groups and approved that way.
Yes, that's affirmative. We always track these through and get the 522's input and make sure they understand the policy and they're in support of it. Essentially, what it allows us to do is, as an industry standard, you can't stay on the books getting full medical benefits and all those types of things and not using any accruals and come back after a long-term illness with all your things on the books. It's just a practical thing that you would have to utilize the leave accruals as you have them before you're allowed to go on an unpaid status.
And we did look at this through the policy committee, and that was our decision also, is that this made it more fair and equitable and, again, in line with industry standards. I mean, it comes back to what the Family Medical Leave Act was meant for. Yeah.
Good, I support it, awesome.
All right, then,
Somebody have a
Madam
comment?
Clerk, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye,
Pearson,
Aye.
and Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Directors Orzali, Clark, and Jones absent.
All right, then.
Thank you.
We have no presentation items. We have no attorneys present. Do you wish to run through these things and handle a closed session at the very end? Chief, what's your
Yeah, let's
pleasure?
let the staff go.
All right, then. President's report. I have nothing to report other than it's a pleasure being here. Communications Center JPA. I'm sorry, Chief Cochran.
President Kelly, Director, Scott Cockrum, Deputy Chief of Support Services. Pleased to report some information on the Communications Center. They continue to excel over there, and we're seeing some really good strides on what they're trying to do to accomplish for us at Metro Fire, and in addition to the other fire agencies out there. But I'll go through a few of the things right now. Next week, they're actually beginning the RFP process for the CAD project, where they're going to come out and interview all the end users for the new CAD and what it is that we're hoping that it looks for. I think a couple of months ago, I let you know that they had hired an outside consultant. So this is continuing to move forward. So the reason I'm briefing on this is just so that as we go through this is going to cost more money. So we just want you to make sure that you're aware that it is continuing. There is no doubt about that. Also, we haven't talked in a while about the P25 migration. That's another analog to digital migration that's going to be occurring over the next 5 years. It's a 3-phase program that we're completing here in Sacramento County at least. And the first phase of that begins on October 6th with some work that I'm not familiar with. They have hired an additional 8 dispatchers. That is gives them an opportunity to start an academy over in November. And actually, we're helping to facilitate that with some use of some space that we have. So continuing to support them and make sure that they're successful. And then just today, I got a phone call from the executive director, and she was pleased to report that they had just received a national award from the Center for Digital Government. And the award that they won was for County Government Cyber Security Leadership and Initiative. So, you know, our comm center over there, the members that are working over there are getting out onto national committees, are participating in throughout the state and across the nation and learning more, gathering more information. And the morale has never been better over there. We're seeing some great innovation, and we're hoping that it continues. So I'll take any questions.
Any questions of Chief Cockrum on the Communications Center JPA? No?
Thank you.
All right then, thank you for your report. California Fire Rescue Training JPA, I was unable to attend the last meeting, and I'm wondering if Director Gould may provide
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
brief
We
report.
met last week in a very brief meeting where we changed spending limits on a contract for construction development of the USAR props. That was done. It was a very short meeting, and I believe that Roebling Construction is moving fast and furious to get that done so that they can get concrete in the ground and get it dry before the weather hits. So that was a good thing. And as the chief mentioned at that meeting, it was really a seminal event for everybody in this region. I believe he used a 20-year timeline that we've been waiting for that day. And so I'm pleased to announce that we met in that meeting, and then right away, the following day, we met as a special meeting of this board and moved forward on that same issue. So good meeting, and then the next meeting is scheduled for Friday the 20th. And I believe I'll be attending because you, again, won't be here. So that's my report.
All right, thank you for that. Finance Committee, Director Scheidegger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance and Audit Committee met tonight. I think we were the first, the inaugural meeting in this beautiful venue, and it is fantastic. The primary purpose of our meeting was to receive a report on our workers' comp third-party actuarial review. This is done every 2 years, and basically it's done to ensure that we're complying with accounting standards and to keep us aware of trends of what's happening in terms of workers' comp. Interesting, our claim frequency is down a little bit. Our cost per claim is up a little bit. However, the claims as they're projected now are pretty much on budget. We have about $6.5 million in reserves for this year at our current status, which is good. Basically, the report was received, good information. And our next meeting is October 10th.
All right, thank you for that report. Policy Committee, Director Pearson.
We met on August 22nd, and we just approved the 2 items that we reviewed at that time. And to my knowledge, there is no meeting scheduled.
All right. Board member questions and comments.
Mr. President, do you want to go back up to your report? Or did you want to handle that after we come out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped right over you and Mr. Lawver's report, didn't I? Trying to save us all some time and get you folks home early. My report, I had nothing to report out on. Chief's report. Thank you for straightening me out there.
That's okay. First off, welcome to your new boardroom. And I want to thank staff that worked very diligently on this. Started off with Deputy Chief Dwayne Aaron back in the day, and then moved to Deputy Chief Scott Cockrum, who did a great job on this facility. I think it's important, I'll say 3 things. It was union labor, it was under budget, and it was ahead of schedule. So I think those are three things that were pretty impressive. The craftsmanship is second to none, and we have little minor bugs to work out, but for our first meeting, it seems to be going very, very well, and I just want to thank them for all they've done. As far as myself, September 3rd, I attended the teleconference for the E-Board for the California Fire Chiefs Association, which I sit as a board member. And also, we have upcoming meetings on the 22nd and 23rd of both the California Fire Chiefs Executive Board as well as the Metro Fire Chiefs. We'll be meeting concurrently here in Sacramento. On the 27th, we put on a presentation for Pacific Gas and Electric, and again on the 9th of this month, we put on a presentation for Pacific Gas and Electric, and we're waiting to hear back on that in regards to the training facilities. Staff attended the GEMT workshop, Chief Clough and CFO McFarland, both in Long Beach and Sacramento, to train people from throughout the state of California on what they needed to do to accurately fill out their cost recovery reports for ambulance transport. And we continue to work on the suppression component and the HMO component. Chief Clough had to leave today, this evening, to get down to the state to get contracts signed so that we can start to get the flow of money moving. We are going to be working diligently probably for another year on those other two components to make them work. And so we will continue to do that. Also, I wanted to announce, connected to that, that the governor signed the Intercept bill, which would allow Metro fire districts throughout California to recover assessments or fees. We were thinking, of course, along the lines of ambulance bills that are not paid. And through using the State Franchise Tax Board. As with any legislation, there's hitches in the get-along, so they're working on those as we speak. We're not exactly clear how the State Franchise Tax Board's regulations relate to what we wanted to do. And so we're working through those with our General Counsel, John Lavra, and we'll be coming back to you. But again, it was legislation that Metro Fire Rescue Dupre was behind in getting enacted, just like AB 678. So we really, as a fire district, have been a leader in moving those things forward. On the 29th, we had Senator Barbara Boxer's office toured the California Exercise Simulation Center next door. Also on the 8th, we had the 9/11 Memorial Run to Remember. Thank you to everybody who helped make that a success. On the 9th, we had a FEMA press conference. I believe Director Gould was out there for that, out on the American River Parkway in regards to our WUI grant that we got for Wildland Urban Interface. Nancy Ward, the Region 9 FEMA administrator, was there, and we had representatives from too many elected officials' offices to remember. But I will announce that Linda Budge was there, Mayor Budge from Rancho Cordova, and I think that is going to be, that grant in and of itself and the plan being put together, they are looking to take that really as a national model. We're the first applicants, apparently, that have met all three criteria in our grant that they have highlighted that they want done, which I think is important. They've given grants before for one or two areas, but the three principal areas they want covered that we are going to do. And Captain Vestal has been put in charge of that program, and we'll keep you folks updated on that. I also, on the 10th, attended Citrus Heights Chamber Luncheon with Henry Tingle, the city manager, and listened to the police chief, Chris Boyd, give a great speech in regards to what they're doing out there in Citrus Heights. On the 11th, I was down for the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. Upcoming events, Safetyville Firefighter Chili Cook-Off is 12 to 4 p.m. on the 14th. So I encourage everybody to go to that. On the 15th is the 11th Annual Northern California Fire Equipment and Memorabilia Swap Meet at Station 21. I believe that starts at 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And then the League of Cities Annual Conference in Sacramento is the 18th through the 20th, of which I will be a guest speaker in regards to revenues and cost recovery. And then that following week will be the Cal Chiefs and Metro Chiefs, which I will be a speaker in two of those breakouts or general sessions, and Chief Clough will be presenting on GEMT specifically in one of the sessions as well. So Metro is putting a lot of stuff forward on that. And then on the 19th and the 22nd, Chief Wells and Chief Cochran will be attending the IAFF Memorial in Colorado Springs. On behalf of Metro, we attend that every year, and in trying to move it around to get different people back there to see it, because it's something to see. We'll be sending both those deputies this year. And on the 21st, I will be attending the 2013 Local 522 Gala at the Sacramento Convention Center. Again, that's important to the union. They invite elected officials as well as the fire chiefs and stuff to that. So I would encourage all the board members, if you can make it. You have Board of Supervisors, City Council there, and it's been a great event in the past, and I would expect it would continue to be as well. We will be holding WebEx meetings with personnel throughout the month. As far as save the dates, on the October 5th is the 11th Annual California Firefighter Memorial at Capitol Park at 11:30. And so I encourage everybody to go to that. On the 5th, also that day, is the 3rd Annual Carolyn Martinez, which is the wife of former Fire Chief Rick Martinez. She unfortunately passed away from cancer, so they have a breast cancer golf tournament, and that'll be at Bing Maloney Golf Course on the 3rd. And I'll be unable to attend, but I am sponsoring a tea deal out there for that, because when the fire chiefs call you from the retired and ask you, you can't say no, and it's for a worthy cause. Although he gave me grief for not playing golf, but if he ever saw me play golf, he'd be glad that I'm not. People will be much safer. And then on the 5th and 6th of October is the California Capitol Air Show at Mather Air Force Base. Right over here, there's some pretty custom windows that you can watch out of your new boardroom, where you can sit in air condition and probably watch the air show, although they have a VIP tent out there that you can attend as well for that. And then on retirements, effective July 23rd, Reserve Firefighter Paul Chapman, 28 years of service. Effective August 31st, Captain Gordon MD, 27 years of service. Effective September 1st, Engineer Don Carroll, 25 years of service. And effective September 1st, Board Clerk Charlotte Tilson, 19 years of service. Promotions, effective September 1, Captain Sean Burke is promoted to captain, and Sarah Ortiz was promoted to accounting supervisor September 3rd. The other thing that I would announce on assignments is that Assistant Fire Chief Bill Daniels is Assistant Fire Chief in charge of Community Risk Reduction Division / Fire Marshal, and will be handling those duties into the foreseeable future, probably on an assignment for at least a couple years in that division. Recruitment, external recruitment for payroll specialist, and that closes on the 20th of September. And external recruitment for vehicle mechanic, that closed on September 6th. And they have 11 mechanics candidates that are going to be moving forward to the next level of the process. With that, that kind of concludes my remarks for this evening. But I again would like to thank Chief Cochran and everybody, and Matt Roseberry and the IT people, and everybody that was involved in putting this venue together that's going to be here for many, many, many years to come, and really is befitting the Board of Directors and a district of our size and breadth. So thank you very much. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Chief. Operations report.
Mr. President, members of the board, Christopher Holbrook, Deputy Chief of Operations for Metro Fire. Unfortunately, tonight I don't have EMS numbers for you. It was a technical glitch on our side. That happens occasionally. But relative to structure fires, since we've last met, there were 15 working structure fires, the most expensive of which was a $1.5 million garage fire. You wonder how a $1.5 million garage gets built? It happens to be filled with restored antique vehicles. So due to the complexity of that incident, it went for several hours. And was 100% fed by that load that existed. There was a paint shop in the garage and numerous other things. Unfortunately, that fire started in a suspicious fashion from the vegetation on the outside and worked its way into the garage. Is currently under investigation. We currently have 7 personnel that are deployed out of Metro Fire to fires primarily in the northern state, the Forks Fire and the Corral Fire. At the height of the fire siege, in the region, in Sacramento County, there were 21 engines and 120 personnel. Of those, 13 engines and 70 personnel were sent from Metro Fire. At one point, we had people strung from Bakersfield into Sisters, Oregon. Literally, the entire state was covered. Just one example, and the credit is to the men and women of Metro Fire for that, because it's not just the 70 that go out with an amazing amount of talent and experience to make things better. It's also the 70 that are impacted on a daily basis that have to be replaced, and credit to the men and women on the line for stepping up and making that happen in truly a seamless fashion. And finally, I want to share with you something, as the chief mentioned, the Exercise Simulation Center across the hall. Today we hosted the Sacramento County Operational Area Meeting. Every county agency is represented on an operational area council that makes decisions relative to moving the county forward for emergency preparedness, those types of things. That group accepted a plan put forth by Metro Fire. It's not a touch screen, okay. And I want to show you what that plan is about. What we decided that we're going to execute. Wonderful. Apparently, nobody has ever opened anything on this computer. I accept. All right. So basically, what that committee agreed to is to hold an exercise for the county of Sacramento. We are developing that exercise. The first exercise that exists in that facility will be done for CAL FIRE, actually. Every one of their incident management teams will go through that. So we're going to exercise 6 teams over 2 days, type 1 teams, the most complex incidents literally on the planet. We're going to leverage that and exercise the county of Sacramento. My goodness. So that process that is developed for CAL FIRE, we're going to leverage with the county, and we are going to exercise a flood scenario in the state, in the county of Sacramento, that will involve, again, from the Operational Area Council, every agency within the county.
Told you, say no. I told you to say no, you didn't believe me.
All right, I'm gonna say no, Matt.
This must be one of those bugs.
You can fix it later. So every county, every agency within the county is going to play. We've also got the FBI because we have a terrorism nexus and a whole lot of things. This is just a glimpse so that you can understand some of the things that today, and Chief Cochran gets the credit for this, in this facility that we're already doing tours in that is relatively empty. Some of the things that are on the board already that literally Metro Fire is leading the state in. And so I just wanted to give you a small little glimpse on what some of those things were. With that, I shall conclude my report because my voice is losing. So, any questions that I can answer?
Chief, I'm assuming that what you've shown us there is what happens when that particular dam goes and the red area is the most flooded.
That particular picture is representative of a component, which, and the picture is not in your board packet for a reason. It's a picture of a component on the dam that could fail, kind of a thing.
Got it.
Yeah, and just one of the many threats. Sacramento's ranked number 2 by FEMA for flood threat within the nation. And as such, it's because you live at the confluence of 3 different rivers. You're protected by levees and a number of things. I don't care if it's a man-made flood or a natural event that causes a flood. Preparedness for that flood helps in any one of the above scenarios. So. That's it.
All right. Any questions for Chief Holbrook? Chief, we'd love to hear when you're going to have all those folks here. Maybe it'd be nice to drop by the building and just observe for a minute or two.
Absolutely.
All
No,
right.
that would be
Thanks.
phenomenal. Yeah, thank you.
Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Firefighters Local 522. Mr. Bailey, how are you?
Good, thank you, Board of Directors, Ty Bailey, Local 522. One of the largest initiatives that we currently have going right now over the next 4 weeks, I've been working with Human Resources. We have our open enrollment. As you're aware, our pre-funding of the OPEB with our contract extension one of the big initiatives that we want to do is meet with all of our members to get them educated on the different plans. And all the cost savings that will be derived from that will go towards that pre-funding component. So September 16th through October 11th is the open enrollment for us. I have a small team that I put together from 522. We'll be meeting with Human Resources next week to get all the information, and we're going to go literally from station to station on every shift, try to meet with each member as well as bringing retirees out from 522 and from non-522 members that are obviously getting that same benefit, to educate them on the process and where they need to be to not only save them money, but to enable them to have better plans that are available, but also to take care of that pre-funding component. And that's all that I have to report out tonight. Thanks. Do you guys have any questions?
Ty, did you say you're gonna go to 40 different stations on 3 different shifts with your small little team?
Yeah, well, it probably would be around 8 to 10 of our members that were part of the negotiation process. Mike Sloan has helped developing some programs that we can utilize WebEx possibly for also.
There you go.
Just so we,
Just gonna ask.
yeah.
Sounds like that's exactly why we have the WebEx
Yeah,
program. is
yeah,
to-
we're gonna utilize that, but some people feel more comfortable asking questions one-on-one versus, in front of the rest of the department, so.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? Chief Inky, any questions? All right, thanks.
Thanks. All right, board member questions and comments? Director Monk, starting on my left, or that's my right?
That's your right.
Your
still.
left.
I'd like to congratulate all those people that made it through retirement and the persons that were promoted and backing them up. And from the presentations we've had this evening, there's a lot of big things working in the district. Congratulations to everybody that's working on all the different projects. They're very impressive and make the district look extremely well for our community and across the nation. So thanks for all your hard work.
Director Wood.
Like what's already been said, I can't say enough good things about the work that Larry Davis and his staff, Rhonda and her staff, and Chief and everyone in administration have done to get us to the point we're at today. And like Chief Holbrook had said, all of our men and women deserve recognition for the work that they've done during the season, both those that have been out and those that have backfilled. And all of them, despite the stresses and pressures, continue to perform to the core values of selfless dedication, selfless service that we come to expect from them. I got a chance to see firsthand an example of that, something that we always get the complaints and the negatives, but we don't always hear the positives, and I know that those positives far outweigh. I was at 54 2 weeks ago meeting with an A-shift crew, and just before I got there, they had returned from a medical emergency, medical aid situation where they helped somebody at a grocery store, and that person ultimately had to be transferred to the hospital. But what to do with that person's groceries? Well, the men and women at 54 took the groceries back to their station, put the ice cream and other perishables in their fridge. They had got a contact from that patient before he was transported, contacted that person, made arrangements to get this guy's food back to him so it could get into his own house when he got out of the hospital. And that's just the kind of thing that our men and women do every day that we don't hear about and the public doesn't know about. And I just think it's something that, very proud of those guys.
All right, thank you. Director Scheidegger.
Nothing to add.
All right, how about you, Director Pearson?
I wanted to thank the men and women and our brothers and sisters in the building trade that built this and did all this hard work. I have had the misfortune of working in some buildings that weren't built by people that had the training. And what's nice about the building trades, and they have a JAC apprenticeship programs, they have the training where they go and they get the training, and you're hiring the professionals to do the work. And I think it shows in the quality that we have in this building. So I just wanted to thank them. I know they're not here, but I appreciate it because it does make a difference. You can tell the quality. You know, the chief mentioned we're under budget and we're early. Again, I think that speaks to their training that they get through the unions. And, you know, not everyone's going to go to college, but there are good jobs, good trade jobs out there, and we need to support those as often as we can. So that's all I had to say. Thanks.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Director Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As been said, thank you very much for this nice facility. I think it's also important to remind our public that this is a multi-use room, that it doesn't shut down and close up waiting for the directors to show back up in 2 weeks. It literally gets reconfigured probably an hour after we leave and is multi-use. And so I think that's important to reinforce because that was a very strong part of moving to this facility and particularly this room. And so, once again, Metro Fire is trying to maximize the citizens' money, and this is a good example of that. And I think that goes to one of the core values of this organization as well. I want to thank the men and women and the chief for the invite to the FEMA presentation. Ms. Ward was very impressed with the presentation, and when you can have a regional director of FEMA have Metro Fire at the tip of her tongue and those kinds of things, probably not a bad thing for us. And in chatting with her, she was very impressed with the organization, and that goes to your leadership, chief, and all your staff. And so I think we'll do good things with FEMA in the future as well. And good luck to Captain Vestal for his efforts to educate the community and make it a safer place for everyone. I wanted to thank him and all the folks that participated in that. Finally, I wanted to congratulate Chief Haverty, a member of our team just a few years ago who was designated today as the interim fire chief for Sacramento City Fire. And kudos to Chief Haverty. Sac City's done right by themselves. He'll do a wonderful job, and I'm sure, given the fact that he started here and learned everything here, he'll be a good partner with us in the future. Congratulations, Chief Haverty. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Certainly. The only thing that I would add is that it's great to look back and realize that some of the decisions that were made by this board and the senior staff of this agency have worked out to what it is today. Certainly this building was an excellent investment, good investment of public funds that has worked out to be a real benefit to this district. Thank you for all the hard work of the individuals that were involved with the construction of this side of the building and all the others that come to work every day and make this district what it is. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Oh, we got closed session.
Yeah.
President Kelly, I need to say for the record that as we go into closed session, the item 1B, the claim, government tort claim under 910 of Michael Methvin versus Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District has been withdrawn from the agenda for consideration tonight.
Thank you.